Up next on Inside ChampCar, 3 guys, a BMW, and a few bucks. Go racing. Welcome to this edition of Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski. The guy above me is a guy who's almost always above me on this show and in life. Bill Strong.
Only because I live at a higher altitude.
That's right.
Higher latitude.
Altitude,
And
latitude, latitudes of gratitudes. That sounds like a song.
Yeah, could be. I'm waiting to see if the sound is okay because I don't want to click anything with sound because you know what happens when that happens.
Oh, well, they'll tell us fast if it's not right.
Yeah. Well,
So,
is it ever right?
That's true. That is true. Welcome to the show, Greg Horwitz, Clapped Out Racing. How you doing, Greg?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're doing really good. Doing really good. Welcome to the show. We have
Good.
everything okay, Bill?
Yeah. I was freaking out. Nobody was answering my question. So now all of a sudden, boom! There must have been a lag in the internet.
Oh.
Like that ever happened. All right, good. So
Anyway,
sound is good.
Everybody
They
says
can hear
sound
us.
is good.
Well,
Ours.
I asked that, Brian, because we have new production stuff.
Yeah.
I think you've got some really cool, graphics. And then cartoons later, right?
Exactly. Cartoon cocktails at 6:30.
Greg, sorry to interrupt, Brian.
Welcome, Greg. You've got the first question. You know what's coming. How'd you get mixed up in this crazy sport that we love?
Sure. So, a story that I'm sure you've never heard. The group of us met in college doing Formula SAE.
Nice.
Bunch of nerds, right?
Yeah, a bunch of engineers.
At VCU, right?
ODU. Old Dominion University.
Which is like VCU or Virginia Tech, doesn't matter.
Folks,
Yeah, sure.
I said
it's not University of Virginia, but the good thing is they do have a Formula SAE.
I said VCU on purpose because we made that mistake earlier and it got Greg all in a kerfuffle. So I knew it was ODU.
I think my wife got her doctorate from there too, but I wasn't quite certain. I'm afraid to ask her because I should know this.
ODU is in Norfolk, Virginia. My kids' favorite place in the world because when they were really young, they thought they were getting away with something whenever they would say we were going to Norfolk. So anyway, I digress.
Yeah, you just pinged us on YouTube saying that.
No, I did. That's the name of a city. Stop it. Stop it, everybody. Stop it. What did you guys do with Formula SAE? Did you do the whole going to nationals and the whole competition thing?
Yeah. So we, it's a very small program. So it ends up boiling down to 5 or 6 guys that really do all the heavy lifting.
Sure.
And the 3 of us plus one more who helped start this ChampCar program, the 4 of us were part of that and did Michigan. Did not do well, but had a great time and wanted to keep doing race car stuff. So
Nice. How long ago was that?
2015 was my last year. Some of the guys are a bit younger and kept doing it.
Cool.
So prior to starting with ChampCar Lemons, I volunteered to work with Formula SAE at Virginia International Raceway when they would do, it was like the pre-game before you went to Michigan. And a lot of local schools would come there to compete. Some national teams would come just to make sure everything was right before they went to Michigan. And I'll tell you what, it's a big competition. Looking at some schools with the amount of money they had versus other schools that didn't have a lot of money, the difference in what they were able to accomplish was huge. Then you had some small schools that were able to accomplish a lot with very little.
Yeah, we were definitely on the small budget side. We were reusing a lot of stuff from the previous years. I did the wire harness for the car, and it was, I think I had 2 brand new spools of wire, and everything else was cut and spliced. And
Yeah.
they weren't thrilled about that, but it ran competition. It rained pretty hard, and we didn't have any electrical issues. So at least I did my job.
Yeah.
So explain to us what Formula SAE is, because there may be people out there that don't know what it is.
Sure. So it's a college program sponsored by SAE, Society of Automotive Engineers, and its real intent is to be a design competition. It's more about the engineering and business and marketing and all the stuff you're supposed to learn in college, and you happen to get to build a race car while you're doing that. So you build a car essentially from scratch every year. Small engines, very restricted on power, but they're still very lightweight, very fast, very sticky tires. And for us, we had a steel tube chassis, so we started with straight long pieces of steel, bent, coked, welded,
Right.
frame, put an engine in it, build a wire harness, fiberglass body panels, and all the other nuts and bolts. And you hope you did all your engineering calculations right, and then you go to competition. I think there was over 100 schools when we were there competing, European schools, especially German and Austrian. Their cars are amazing. Oh, I mean, full carbon, full aerodynamics, amazing.
But
And
basically, you're building a car from scratch to sell, right? Your idea is to market it and sell it to somebody. So it's basically the best presentation, the best performance.
The performance is actually not weighted that high. It's the engineering presentations, the business case. So if you're in college and you want to do it, you don't have to be an engineer. In fact, every Formula SAE program wants more business majors and marketing majors for sure, without no question. So,
because it's not just about building the car, welding it up. It's about getting the marketing guys out there trying to do the deals to get your
parts,
sponsorships, parts, just anything and everything to do it.
A friend of mine who's in the USC program was a pre-law major, so had an interest in racing. His family's racers, but he was a pre-law, and he got involved with the Formula SC program. Had a good time with it. So is it like football or basketball, where like you don't really care who you beat as long as you beat Virginia Tech?
At ODU,
exactly, isn't it?
It's pretty much every school in Virginia.
That is true,
right? And before the actual competition, at least at the national level, there's a whole bunch of like tests that you have to pass, right? You have to prove that it can brake and it can turn properly and all that kind of stuff, right? And you have to go through all of that stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a rollover test, sound test, which is really difficult. Most teams are using.
Well, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that rollover test. It's a platform they put the car on and they lift it and they just tilt it. Does the driver have to be in it?
Yep.
And it's not just the rolling over part. Does anything leak out of it?
Right.
Does I don't think it slides, but does it lift? Is the center of gravity where it needs to be? Stuff like that. And then braking. That's where I worked. It was a brake department. And basically the only way to really test that all the brakes were working was they had at VIR, we had the skid pad, and we had a bunch of hay bales set up at the end of it. This is before they put the fence around it. It was just a big. If you went through the hay bales, you just end out in the field.
Right.
But you accelerated up to a certain, into a box, and you had to lock up all four wheels. And in order, all four wheels had to lock up. If they didn't lock up, you failed. You didn't get your inspection sticker for the brake system.
Right.
Or is what happened, and I forget who the school was, but as they applied the brakes, the car came kind of rolling to a stop. So of course they failed right there. But I noticed that there was a lot of attention. The driver's eyes were like this big, like saucers. So something happened, and people were like being all hush hush. And I went up and I asked them to take off the footbox access port.
Did the pedal break?
Oh my God, the pedals had completely bent over the back. Boom. So we had to take away their inspection stickers, and they basically had to go start all over again. It's pretty stiff. They're not messing around when they do this stuff.
Yeah. I always felt bad for the schools that made it.
There's a brake over travel switch that you have to have for the rules, so you also can't trip that.
Oh.
When you apply the brakes. So we kept tripping it, and we had already passed all the other inspections. So it's been long enough. I think I can tell this story. We took ours out and jumped it out just to pass brake tests. So, whoops.
Oops.
Well, that's what you do for tech. My car wouldn't shut off one time before, back in the day when we had to do tech every race. And somebody really friend of mine kind of told me, "Hey, wire your fuel injectors into the off switch because if the fuel injector's shut off, there's nothing. It won't keep the engine won't keep running."
Right.
Like, oh, okay. Been like that ever since. So
there you go. There
Yeah.
you go. I always felt bad for the teams that would go all the way to Michigan and not be able to pass one of the tests and never got to compete.
oh,
And that happens every year, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think
we
that's why
actually.
I think that's why they did some of the pre stuff before 2010, but they don't do that anymore, do they?
No, they don't. We didn't have that option. We actually failed. The harness bar was too small, wall thickness on diameter. So we were in the hotel parking lot till the wee hours in the morning, cutting and welding in a new harness bar, and barely made it. But yeah, there's teams that just don't make it.
Yeah. So how did you guys get into ChampCar? Or was that the next step? Or did you go directly? Was that the next series you went after? Or did you do something in the middle?
Yeah, I had seen Lemons and ChampCar and all the budget series earlier on, and I tried to convince some friends to do it. And then kind of after we graduated, everybody still had the itch, and we were able to rally. And we're in Southeast Virginia and having VIR 3.5 hours away, and you guys doing so many events there, it seemed like a perfect fit. So we bought a car and made it happen.
Nice.
Have your teammates are yourself, Alaric, who works at Flagtronics.
Yep.
Alex Sanders, and who's the other guy?
Randy Fulcher is still a co-owner, and then Hunter Bates was part of him and Randy welded the roll cage in Randy's barn.
So do you guys get upset when you see Alaric's car and you say, "Why can't our car look like this?"
I don't know if you've seen his car lately, but ours looks better now.
Oh,
yeah, he can tell you all about it.
He didn't mess his up, did he?
He made a whoopsie.
Oh, he'd have. I'm gonna have to give him a call.
Yeah.
Well, he's in the chat. Maybe he can tell us about the whoopsie in the chat.
He might have just left the chat.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you guys graduate. You get your life together. You get jobs. You're an engineer, obviously, and mechanical engineer or civil engineer?
Mechanical.
Civil engineer?
No.
So mechanical engineer, and you guys go racing. So what made you go out and get a BMW?
Luck, kind of. We kind of looked around to see what other teams were running, and the E36 was pretty common at that time. And I've always loved the E36. I tried to buy an M3 when I was in high school, but couldn't quite afford it. And Hunter had a couple BMWs at that point, and we were able to snag this one for like $700 or $800. So
wow.
It wasn't really a set plan. It just kind of all came together.
I kind of find that there's three ways to pick a car when you decide to go racing. You could pick the car that you love. You could pick the car that a lot of people are running, so you have like people you can talk to and friends and support and that kind of thing. Or you can pick the car that's fastest for the class. So you kind of went in the middle. You went with the BMW, which is a pretty quick car and is a lot of people run them.
Yeah, we definitely didn't want something where we had to, reinvent the wheel to make it work or something. There's tons of support for them, so that helps.
Like an MR2 or an Opel GT?
Yeah, or those guys running the Cobalt at VIR 24.
Yeah.
I mean, that's brave. I give those guys credit.
Yeah. The Cobalt's done okay. I mean,
yeah, once they got rid of the automatic, it's much better. But
yeah,
I mean, hats off to them we've looked at picking another car, especially a truck, like a pickup truck, just for fun, but it's so much work.
Yeah.
To do. So
yeah, once you get one car done, then it's like, oh shit, I got to do all of that stuff. Because when you're first doing it, you don't realize how much time and effort it took to get it. Second car, it's like, oh wow, this did take a lot of time. Yeah, we did 2 cars one time, and I'll never do that again. That was just way too much work. All right, so I'm told to ask you, what kind of issues have you had in the car? Anything?
The biggest issue would be money shifting.
Yeah.
If money shift racing didn't already exist, we would own that for sure.
So what's the story about ABS?
Oh, our ABS. So the factory ABS on the E36 is like you step on the brake pedal, nothing happens for a split second, and then the boat anchor catches, and you can outbrake Miatas. I mean, it's amazing, and it works great. But when it stops working, then you go sailing off into the field because you didn't realize you didn't have ABS that corner.
Yeah.
So what
And there's
happened?
some when you start cutting wires out to make things work, you cut the wrong wire, and then you're figuring it out. And because it's a factory system, it has to see certain signals that you're not expecting. So we had to wire in some resistors and play with things like that. And ultimately, we couldn't figure it out for a long time. And it was the brake travel sensor on the back of the master cylinder or the booster. It like goes into the brake booster, and that once we replace that, it's worked perfect.
Huh.
It's amazing the sensors that Germans put on their cars with the amount of grounds and wiring, and just I have a BMW sitting out in my shop. I cannot get going. Part of it is I just don't go out to the shop anymore, but because I kind of threw in the towel. But yeah, it's just the wiring is just crazy with those things. So German cars, it's either falling apart, getting eaten by the mice, or just not working.
Well, the mice isn't really the fault of the German car, Bill. You live in a country.
It's the plastic they put around it, made out of, I don't know, corn or food or something.
Okay.
Candy. Yeah, they like it. So, all right. So, VIR 24. You've done this many times now. Is it do you do it with 4 guys or 3 guys, or how many guys you do?
We usually we do well. It's 12 stints, so each of us does 2, and then we try to find 6 other stint. So this year we're gonna have 4 other drivers. Is that right? 5 other drivers doing 6 stints. So,
all right. Wow, I don't know. You guys are young. I remember we had to do at least 6 drivers for a 24. That just it just hurts.
yeah, it's too hard to drive and crew that way. With bringing people in, and plus having the funds from them that goes a long way into keeping doing this.
Yeah. Have you sat down with Alaric and told him no whoopsies?
Well, I told him if he does whoopsie this car, he better write it off so we can stop worrying about it so much.
Alaric, we're sorry. A little.
Yeah, sorry. All right. So what's a game plan? You got 6 drivers. You said 5 drivers. 6.
What do we have? 8 drivers this year.
8 drivers. All right. So 8 drivers. What's the game plan? You gonna go for mileage, or are you gonna go for all out from the green flag?
No, keep it on the black stuff.
Yep.
That's the plan as much as possible. We're definitely, the car just isn't a top where there's no way. I mean, to win the 24 would be the biggest miracle. We're not up there with the, GBU guys or the Porsche guys, but the car's pretty reliable. If we could run the whole race, so top 10 is doable, but we're also not the fastest. We have a big spread in driver skill. Some of us are pretty quick. Some of us are just average, and some of us don't have a ton of experience. But that we're not really shooting for anything. We want to run the whole race. We've never run flag to flag with no issues. That's really our only goal.
So Greg, you look at the entry list for VIR 24, and it's packed with some pretty big names. Even Ben Keating is showing up.
Yeah.
That's you know who Ben is, right, Brian?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so
he just won the IMSA race at Road America last weekend.
Yeah. So
in LMP2,
Ben will be there with his team and such, and he has some guest drivers too this weekend.
Greg just found the nicest way in the history of motorsports to say some of his drivers suck.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. The level of ability. But
they know who they are. It's fine.
Yeah. You say that, and Ed shows up to Daytona with a field of cars that just was incredible.
Yeah.
And wins the race.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and Ed is about as low budget as you can get. I know you guys are pretty low budget too. Is it Happy Meals all around?
Yeah, I mean pizza, whatever we can get our hands on.
Yeah.
No
sleeping in the
foie gras
trailer.
and
Is
steak
that why you
tartare.
asked to be pitted next to the rich guys with the, with their food area?
Yeah. We just want to be close to the snack stand because that's our food source.
Richard Buckholtz in the chat just renamed "Go Big or Go Home." Big whoopsies or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Make it look good on camera.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So, what's your, what has been what's been the biggest failure point at VIR 24 for you guys?
Probably the heat. I mean, other than money shifting, it's been overheating early on. We struggled with that a lot and cracked a few cylinder heads.
Ooh.
But I mean, we've been super lucky with this car. We've had a lot of engine failures, but we've learned a lot of reliability tricks. So it's just bad luck. And yeah, I mean, last year we had the wheel studs shear off going into Oak Tree, and they were pretty new. They're new. They were, I know they're a service item. Before everybody in the chat jumps all over me, they were 2 races old, so they should have been okay. And we double check everything before, so they were tight. So stuff happens.
Well, that's a question. Were they ARP or were they you just got them off?
They were the Bimmer World bullet nose ones.
Oh, so they were.
So now we're back to the Motorsports hardware ones. I don't know if they're any better, but they haven't sheared off on us. So
yeah.
When I was doing the broadcast of the 24 last year with David Haynes, we talked about it, and the Rolex 24 is in January. The Sebring 12-hour for IMSA is in March, I guess, and it's the June Le Mans race. The temperatures are typically pretty mild, but you guys go after 24 hours at VIR in August. Whose brainiac idea was that, Bill?
That was.
Is that just the date they could give you?
Yeah, that's the date that we got way back in 2010.
Okay.
We did the first 24-hour at VIR on the South Course.
Yeah.
So I think we had 25 cars start that race, and it's just escalated since then to where we're at now.
Yeah.
Onto the full course. One year we did South Course for the day part, and then once the sun started going down, we went full course yellow. We may have gone red flag, reconfigured the course, and then ran full course from the South Course paddock. We ran full course that night, and that was weird because a couple of us had never run on the full course before.
Right.
So that was pretty interesting. It really sucked when your guy runs out of fuel over at turn 1, and he has to get all the way back to the South Course. So it didn't work out too well for us.
I just think that August 24 hours at VIR is one of the toughest tests because, you don't have necessarily professionally prepped cars. And let's face it, not all of us are professional athletes who our job is to train every day to be fit to do this. Yet we strap ourselves into our cars in August in VIR, and sometimes the drivers don't make it, and sometimes the cars don't make it. It's just, I think it's a fantastic test.
Yep. Somebody's asking, can we keep the 24-hour? We're going to have a 24-hour every year. That's what ChampCar's about. The 24 will not go away. Where it's at, we don't know yet. So,
well, we'll be there. Hopefully. Yeah. We love doing the 24. It's hard, but it's worth it.
Yeah. That's what I think. For one, it's one of those things that is done at the pro level. It's not done too many times a year, and by others. So you can compare yourself, your car prep, your just what you can do to other people. Much like Formula SAE, you're comparing yourself to other schools.
Right.
So I kind of like the 24s.
We've gone to Daytona for the IMSA race every January for the last going on 9 or 10 years almost. And how much do those guys spend just for that race?
Oh, it's unreal.
And we get to do a 24-hour for a few $1,000s. It's crazy. I mean, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many other races do you typically do each year?
We were trying to do 3, but now there's kids and other expenses. So we try to do 2. We've done the 12-hour at VIR, and then the 24. We would like to go back to Watkins Glen. We love going up there. Yeah, we'd like to do more, but it's 2 is pretty much it for right now.
Sure.
Children ruin everything.
Well, they're still too young to help out. You know, we can't make them slaves yet. So once they get a little older and can help us out, then.
And mom gets really angry when you're sitting there grinding next to them in the stroller. Not that I know. You know, stop looking at the weld. Kidding, that never happened. So, all right. So VIR, done that a couple times. 24 is coming up. Is there anything, do you ever think about, your health when you're doing this? As you have 3 team owners that can they each run the team. So is there one guy in charge at a 24, or do you everybody just does what they need to do?
Yeah, so we kind of we split who's in charge, but if it comes down to like an absolute decision, generally that's my call because I do most of the work. So I get most of the, that's how we balance things.
Right.
When we had 4 team members, we did it on who set the fastest lap, which was also me. So that was a great deal for me. Wasn't my idea, but it worked out good.
Yeah.
But and then in the night, we kind of say somebody else take over, go sleep for a couple hours and we'll wake you up and just try to do your best. But yeah, I mean, it's hit every 2 hours. That's the decisions to make.
So if you got a new team coming in, what kind of, suggestions do you have for them at, just attacking a 24 hour?
Check every nut and bolt twice. Paint markers go a long way. And anything that rotates should be safety wired or lock nutted or nylocked, whatever. Just really triple check all that stuff, and then just a lot of Red Bull, a lot of coffee, a lot of hope.
Hopes and dreams.
That's right. Yeah. What they say? Hope is not a plan.
It could be.
It could be. It could
for a
be.
lot of teams on pit lane, it will be. So for this 24, I think I guess I'm the boss now, so I get to kind of spend some time out there, and I'm going to hang out on pit lane a little bit and kind of talk to teams and maybe do some help with Paul doing some interviews and such. So we'll come talk to you and see how you guys are doing overnight. And probably Aleric's all curled up like a fetal position over in the corner of the easy upright.
Yeah, well, hopefully he gets some support on the Flagtronic side so he's not running around as he has done in past years. But,
he offered to give us a hand, and I'm like, okay, how can I overwork him?
We're kind of used to it now. We're used to him just having to run away. But
yeah, no, it should be all right. He should be all right. He's playing delivery boy for us this event, so he's got to bring a lot of stuff with him.
Yeah,
and kind of point us in the right direction. We're trying some new technology stuff, and you guys have heard about some of it. So hopefully we'll get some of this driver ID stuff up and working soon, and a bunch of other things. So
yeah, we're hoping to run it. I mean, obviously with Alec on the team, we're hoping to run the driver ID for the race. So we'll be the guinea pigs.
Does he have the collar one?
I don't know. I haven't gotten anything yet, so I don't have the in-car module that's not wired in. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully we do. All right. So what's your plan for the future after VIR? What's your plan?
Pretty much same as every year. We try to pick a couple things that we can improve on the car over the winter. This winter, it's going to be a complete new wire harness. Get rid of all that BMW stuff, and probably some headlight panels, and that's about it for the car. And we probably will do the 12-hour next year, so we got a couple months to take our time. But yeah, unless the schedule changes a lot, then
be careful buying the big panels. That rule may change. Not 100% certain on that, but just don't buy really big single light panels.
Oh, no. We run little off-road cubes, but we don't have
okay.
headlights, so our aero is really poor.
Oh, okay.
So these would be filler,
Well,
sheet metal filler
if you
plastic or something.
if you don't need the actual lights, just tilt them a little bit back, and that'll give you aero. It's like a front wing.
Until you need it.
Well, yeah.
Hey,
I mean, who
Brian,
needs that?
Brian, stop. You just I could hear Ray Frank standing up right now.
Ray is like, oh,
front wing, no.
I say like that stuff just because I know Ray listens.
Yeah. Or Mike Chiswick. Mike Chiswick might be listening now too. So
hi, Mike.
I did send him the link. So Mike Chiswick, our new CEO.
That's right.
He hasn't yelled at me lately, which is kind of weird, but
that means he hasn't been paying attention.
Maybe. So, I haven't screwed anything up. So, all right. So anything else about VIR that you want to talk about, or any cheaty stuff that you want to get by us? Nobody's watching. There's 2 guys.
Yeah, it's only 20 at the moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is our big event every year. We love coming wherever you guys go next year. Hopefully it's within towing distance. And I mean, we love VIR. Doing the uphill S's at night flat out is a pretty wild experience. So,
oh, come on, you lift.
Not anymore.
Oh.
We used to have to. The car's pretty planted now.
You guys have a wing?
Splitter and a wing, yeah. That's our point spend. So,
right.
Is that like a wing and a prayer?
Yeah.
Have you ever gone through the S's at full throttle, wide open, Brian?
No.
First time I did it was just like, holy crap, what did I just do? And then the second time I was like, I'm not going to do that again because I will totally screw it up. I know I will. I'll overcompensate or whatever.
And then the third time you crashed.
Yeah. So I didn't, but I just, our car was pretty quick through there. But there were some teams where there was just no way you were. So you think you got it out? You think you have it for the Corvettes? There's going to be a few of them there.
No, we did finally put the car on a dyno before this and do a real engine tune. So we're up a lot on horsepower, but we're right where the other E36s are on power.
So you told your wife that 176 horsepower is really good.
We almost got to 200. It was close. But that's by talking to another E36 team. That's right where they're at. So we're definitely not as fast on the straightaways as some of those bigger engine cars, but the car's pretty quick in the corners. And if the ABS is working, although I'm not sure it will with our new ECU, which is going to be a problem, braking could be questionable. But
press the pedal.
Yeah.
It'll be there, right?
Now, the problem is locking up a lot over a 24, then you flat spot. You end up with ovals pretty quick.
I don't know. I never had ABS, so it was, you just don't brake, threshold brake, and not,
Yeah, but it's way more fun to just stomp on the pedal with ABS and let it do all the work for you.
That's interesting, isn't it, Brian? How the younger guys now are just so used to ABS that they just stomp on the brake and turn.
Yeah, I had to like pump the brakes and then lay off, and then if it broke, yeah. I've never raced a car with ABS.
I did it. I think Wittenauer's had it, and I was just afraid to use all that because I didn't want to be the guy that locked up the tires and,
Right.
Yeah. So I was slow, but I'm slow anyway. All right. Anything else, Brian?
No, well, I'm just looking to see if there's anything in the chat here. Tim says Timothy Elliott driver IDs are a great idea. Oh, be sure to smash the like button. Thank you, Timothy. Subscribe, smash the like button, all that other cool stuff. Yeah, so, no, I'm good. Do you have any?
But if it rains.
Yes.
Because this is VIR, and it could most likely rain. And we're under a state emergency right now.
Right.
Where are you at? Where are you? You're in North Carolina? Or no, you're in Virginia now, aren't you?
Yeah, on the coast, Portsmouth, Virginia.
Oh, yeah. So you guys are under, like, tropical storm warnings and hurricane warnings and all stuff. So, yeah, I hope this thing isn't as bad as they're saying. Because next week I'm supposed to be in Cape Hatteras, and Yeah, that'll suck.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
let's.
supposed to have my kids' pool party this weekend, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, we got a big storm headed for us there, Brian.
I've been at VIR during a tropical storm.
Yeah.
Racing, and it is not fun. It's the only time in my life I thought I might die in a motorhome.
Just like storms just sit there. They either sit there or they go around the track. I think that vortex of speed or whatever happens kind of drives some of it away, but then the downside of that is it sucks in the fog. So you get the fog off the river, the Dan River, which is right next to the front straightaway. But
Right.
yeah, it could be rainy. Danville right now has had more rain the past couple of months than they've had in years, which kind of sucks because we're going to be really strict on going off track. So you have to stay on the racing service. Got the email from the track today. They've got the track is going to actually place some things in the area where they think there might be trouble. So I kind of know what they're going to do. I don't want to say anything just yet. We'll let the race director do that, Chelsea.
Sure.
So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. So,
Cool.
that's it.
Cool.
Dead silence.
Anything?
No silence.
Anybody you want to thank, Greg? Any sponsors? Any family? This is your shot to thank all the people that make it happen.
Sure. Well, obviously our families, our wives, they put up with a lot doing this for sure. So, but no, I just thank my teammates for sticking with this. It's not easy to do as, young guys getting our lives started. So, and we built a car in a barn and over the years have turned it into a race car slowly and have learned a lot. So I just, glad to have the opportunity. I mean, if we're going to thank anybody, it's ChampCar, a series that allows people like us to be able to do this. Cause I have a few friends that do like spec racing in NASA or SCCA, and there's no way we could afford it there. And there's no way we could do like, we have a local oval track here, only one driver. How can I convince my friends to spend all this time and money when only one of us gets to drive? So
yeah,
this kind of series, this kind of opportunity, I mean, it's exactly what we needed. And this is our boat. This is what we spend our money on instead of other toys. So
cool. Awesome.
Cool. And children.
Well, yeah, them too.
Greg Horwitz, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Good luck at the VIR 24. Hopefully you can be back on the show the week after as a victor. That would be fun, right?
Yeah, that would.
That would be. I do want to watch some. Eventually, I want to watch.
It'll be good. It'll be good. All right, my friend. All you have to do is just hit the leave the room button, because that's how we do it, because we don't have any magic way of doing it ourselves. And we'll keep
Thanks,
on.
guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
man.
Awesome. All right, so what else we got going on there, Mr. Bill?
I see two of me. All right, so Lifeline 24-hour Classic coming up here in a couple of weeks. Chelsea will be sending out the emails with pit lane paddocks, pit lane spots, a bunch of information about the race. She'll be sending that out here. Perfect, thank you. She'll be sending that out here I believe this weekend.
Okay.
3 cancellations so far, but we're still above us a good number. So we're about 68 cars now. Wheels America, they've got a ton of cars coming. They're bringing 3 cars. That's over a ton of cars, isn't it? 3 tons?
3 tons.
Yep. Sparrows. You know what? Sparrow Speed. They've got that Porsche.
Yeah.
I think that's a team to watch.
Okay.
Same with Section 8. He's bringing 3 cars.
Wow.
So Section 8, remember, he just had that big fire on the side of the highway on his way to Nelson Ledges. And
That's
he's
no
already,
fun.
regrouped his team and getting everything together. And you didn't see the GoFundMe out there to kind of help him get things back together. A few of us put some money in, and hopefully he'll be able to show up. Rockwell is showing up with their cars. They're determined to win this race. They've won it in the past. They want to do it again. Open Throttle's bringing like 4 cars and I think 100 guys, because that's usually what they do. NLS has had some good and bad luck at this race.
Right.
They're bringing their 240 SX and their 300 ZX. So lots of teams. Hard Six Racing, that's Ben Keating. Hard Six is showing up with their Acura Integras, banana-looking cars, bright yellow. Of course, that's, my kind of car. Good, Bad, and the Ugly. He's got an EC 1979 Chevrolet Corvette. I'm curious as to why it's EC and what it has in it. What do you think? You think big block?
No, I don't know. Are you going to look under the hood and check?
Oh, yeah. So he has to take it through tech still. So
okay.
It'll be interesting. That's an EC car.
So do teams have to declare why their car is an EC car?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So, Floridians are coming up for this one, with that Porsche 944.
Yeah.
Hopefully they've got that turbo fixed, but they won Daytona recently.
Yeah.
They're a team that if that turbo holds up, that's the one that sits outside the hood.
Yeah.
That turbo holds up, can do pretty well. And, of course, Eddie Vedder. Eddie's up there in the top 5 for the national championship right now with that Chevrolet Corvette D-class car. Let's see how they do. They're Mooresville guys, and I think one of them works at Chevrolet as well. So, they've got that car ticking good. And we have a Crown Vic in this race. You haven't seen a Crown Vic in ChampCar in quite a while.
Don't talk to me about Crown Vics.
Crown Victorious Racing.
Crown Victorious?
Victorious, yeah. And, of course, Clapped Out Racing. That's another car that could do well. Chump Change is going to be there. Brew Crew will be there. I saw them enter the other day.
Nice.
Average Joe's. That's another car. I don't know, man. Pretty quick, big engined Miata.
Yep.
That might do well. And of course 901 Motorsports. He's bringing 2 cars as well. So, and AOA Racing, with their MX5s, they could do quite well as well. So lots of guys. ATL Speedworks. They're going to be there with their 996 car, which is actually, I believe, the #1 car.
Okay.
I think we have to fix that because they're the national champions.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll be there. And then, hey, guess where we go after that? It's like I get home, we quickly do a quick turnaround, and we head out to Thompson, Connecticut. We're still getting all our rides together. Looks like me, Troy, and Ray will be headed up there next, the weekend or the Thursday after VIR 24.
Nice.
Yep, we've got 31 cars signed up for that race. We'd love to have a few more guys. That is a hell of a track to race on. And like I said, we'd like to get a few more cars there, and I suspect right after the 24 there might be some guys headed.
Yeah.
Are
you sold out for the 24?
We're at 70. We can do closer to 90 to 100.
Okay.
So it's not sold out.
Okay.
So, but we can take more for that one too.
Yeah.
If you're interested in running the 24, you got a spare car laying around. I saw people asking for rides. So
yeah.
Now Mid-Ohio, on the other hand, is sold out.
Nice.
We just had a car cancel. They moved their car over to another race. They don't think they're going to be able to get the car ready in time. So that puts us at 70 cars, which is our limit.
Okay.
For some reason, one snuck in, so we were at 71. So yeah, so we have a pretty big wait list for that race, and yeah, we'll be going through that wait list as guys start to drop out. So I think the first emails are going out for that race, and then we head off to, after Mid-Ohio, Harris Hill, Texas, which is always a great track. We've got 36. That is a cutoff of a hard 45 cars because we can't fit any more in the paddock, which is also your pit lane. So that is a hard cutoff on that. So we'll probably pick up about 5 more entries as we get closer. And then, of course, October 5th and 6th, we head off to Pittsburgh. The early cutoff was yesterday, and we got a fair amount of entries from that. We went from, I think it was 17 cars, and we're up to 37 now. So we picked up 20 entries just in the last couple of days. Saw a couple entries come through today. So that one will pick up, I think, once the 24 ends, and we'll see a bunch more teams. That usually sells out, and I think we do have a hard limit of 65 at that track because of pit lane.
All right. Nice.
And then off to Road America. I don't know much about that because I won't be showing up to that one. But 14 cars signed up, and that early pay discount will be expiring here on August 20th. And I'll be sending out an email to membership wide just to remind folks, hey, this is going on.
Yeah.
And just to let you guys know, I've started up a new email that we're going to send out tomorrow morning. Each month I'll send out an email letting you know what's going on, what cutoffs are coming up. Just, the latest news in ChampCar.
Cool.
Stuff that we don't really talk about on here, but we have board of directors that were coming up for re-election. So that's coming up, and we'll be talking about that more soon. And we just finished up I put up a board of directors meeting for all the members. You got to be a member to view all that stuff. So that's up in your membership section. And they did a meeting the other day. Nothing new, just talking about next year. Mike's still working on the 2025 schedule. We still have a couple of tracks to talk to, me and Chelsea and Mike. What else are we doing? We're looking at some changes for next year. I can't get into it yet, but just on the electronic side and the web side. So
cool.
We're looking at doing some upgrades for next year. Yeah. So that's it.
Sounds like nothing's going on at all.
No. It's just today was extremely busy. I got up thinking, it's going to be an easy day, and it turned out no way. Just snuck away about 5:30, went for a bike ride, and came back. So you've got some new. So I don't know. There's people that follow us on Facebook and the internet, social media and stuff. So we are we're kind of doing some exercise. I don't know if you guys know. I kind of got really big here recently, actually for the last 10 years, and so Troy, my little buddy, been riding mountain bikes for a while. He's actually out in Bentonville right now doing the mountain bike trails out there.
Nice.
But he just took his kids out there to do mountain bike racing in Colorado, or riding out in Colorado with a bunch of training. And but he convinced me to go out and buy a bike and do some stuff. I tried my first race last weekend, failed miserably.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Huh? You did not fail.
Yeah, I did one lap and just said, too hot. I went out way too fast.
Yeah, but you did it, man.
I tried. I didn't do it.
Well, but you tried, and like I said on Facebook, most people's exercise regimen is getting off the couch and going to the fridge and going back to the couch.
Yeah.
So you went out and you tried.
Yeah,
you did one lap more than about 98% of the rest of the world.
Yeah, true. But it's still a failure in my mind. But I'll fix that.
Yeah.
And that's my goal is just to do better.
That's right.
So, but it was like week 3 of my training.
Yeah, who goes racing on the 3rd week of training, dude?
I don't know.
That was maybe your failure.
Well,
but no, you went out and tried, and I think that's great.
It was one of those things. But hey, we'd love to see some other racers out there. I know some of our Texas guys. They've kind of joined our Strava. Is it Strava?
Well, it's Strava, and then there's also a Facebook group. So back in the pandemic times, I was part of a 1x100 challenge. And that challenge was to do 100 straight days of doing 1 mile of running or walking. And I thought that was fun and did my 100 days. And I actually finished on Halloween at Buttonwillow, was my 100th day. But I was like, I want to do, running and walking is great, but there's other sports that you could do to get moving. And that's why I created the 30 for Life challenge. And the theory is that if you move 30 minutes a day, every day, for the rest of your life, you're going to be in better health when you get to be our age, Bill.
Yep. Yeah. That's true.
And it can be anything. It can be walking, running, swimming, biking, mountain climbing, rowing. Anything that gets you moving for 30 minutes a day. And you can do more than 30 a day. But so the whole point of the 30 for Life Facebook group is it's an accountability group. So we put our stuff in there. We show that we've done it. We either put our Strava or pictures of you doing it or whatever the case may be, but something that proves that you do 30 days. And there's a couple of other little nuanced rules that if you have to skip a day, it's not the end of the world. Because really the whole thing is not the doing it every single day. It's doing it as many days as you can.
Right.
But if you don't put a challenge, it's not a challenge. So it just becomes a thing. So. But
and I go to the race. You go to an IMSA race.
Yep.
You see all these real skinny,
mostly,
drivers.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then you come to a ChampCar race, and all you see is real skinny drivers.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, it's like,
So
speaking to that, we had Ben Keating on the show last year
right.
from his home in Texas, and it must have been, he said it was like 100 degrees outside in the evening.
Yeah.
He did the entire show walking around his backyard in circles, and you would never have known it had you not known that he was walking around his backyard. He never
Well, the thing was, we weren't doing video then. It was all just audio.
I think it was just before we went to video, and he wasn't breathing hard. You would have never known it, and that's because.
And in Texas, his house is probably 5 or 6 acres large. So
Sure.
Everything's big in Texas,
and there's humidity and all that other stuff. But he races IMSA, so he has to have a certain level of fitness if he's going to hire drivers to go and race with him. And he's going to be the gentleman driver. He needs to keep himself fit. And I race with another guy who's in his 70s, and he makes some of the younger guys look like they've never got off the couch. And I want to be more like those guys when I get to be 70. So that's why I did it. So
yep. So
join us.
I got closer to like 250 pounds. I was really close to it.
Yep.
And now I've lost about 16 pounds.
Nice.
And my wife started. So we went out and bought those. I bought I don't want to say what it is. A fairly pricey,
a nice bike.
Yeah. And then my wife said, I want to ride. And I accidentally ran over her bike in the backyard years ago.
Oh, Jesus.
So I thought, well, I'm seeing some Walmart bikes that are pretty good, supposedly pretty good. So I went and bought 2 gravel bikes from Walmart, one for me, one for her.
Right.
Let me tell you, Brian, I enjoy that gravel bike more than I enjoy my very pricey mountain bike.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a little heavier, but you really got to put your effort into going. And I go pretty quick on that bike.
Yeah.
So
cool.
It's comfortable in a bit. So yeah, if you guys want to join us,
can I put a link on the ChampCar page?
Yeah, why not?
I'll put a link on the ChampCar page.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just join us. And I know that there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of car owners that would like their drivers to get lighter too.
Exactly.
Like John said, it's easier to reduce the weight of your car if you put a lighter driver in.
It is.
So,
it is.
Yeah. So, and it makes it easier to fit in those little tiny seats they tend to put in their cars.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I want to go racing again. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this,
Yeah.
And there are certain cars that I can't fit into that I'd like to fit into. So
yeah,
that's my goal.
Yeah. I needed a rest from ChampCar for an hour or two.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I
Absolutely. Good for your mental health.
Yeah.
Makes you sleep better at night. At least I found that out in the last couple of weeks. So.
Or during a show.
I yawn a bit during the show. If anybody ever catches me on our show, I'm up at 4 a.m. Pacific time, and we do this at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and I work during the day and everything. So if you ever catch me yawning, I apologize ahead of time. It's not because the show is boring. Trust me.
Yeah. So we got a few minutes here. What are you doing now with because you're doing the SCCA, you're doing some more podcasts, you're doing the real cool show, which I need to get you more videos.
Yeah.
But it's you got a lot going on.
Got a lot going on. Trying to grow the network, and we just added one podcast that started premiered on Monday, Inside Vintage Racing. Cool. And I got another one in the works, so they'll be up to 4. And we've got room on the network for others. So if you know of anybody out there who's doing a good podcast you think should be on the racing network, let them know to get in touch with me. But just trying to make it bigger and better. And, we've proven through Inside ChampCar and Inside the SCCA that there's an appetite for this kind of content.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. Having fun with it. Don't sleep much, but that's okay.
I do like the vintage stuff. I mean, we got a lot of guys that run vintage cars in ChampCar, and I know that a bunch of them even John Whitnauer, I think, has a vintage Mini.
Yeah.
So that they run. So there's probably folks out there that love to be on your show, and
if anybody out there is, and it's not series specific. Anybody who's running any of the series across the country. I know my first 2 guests are from the series out here, but that's just by coincidence. And the next guest races in a bunch of series. She goes out east every year and races in a couple of different series out there. So it's not specific to a series. And we're going to do stuff on, one of these days we'll go up to Monterey and do the Monterey Historics. And I want to go to Goodwood next year, maybe. There's my dream bucket list vintage podcast.
I'll be your camera guy.
I'd love for that.
You.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. So, yeah, all good stuff. All good stuff.
I get to use a small camera, right? I have to carry one of them big.
No, it's a small camera.
Okay.
It's a small camera. I have to be able to carry it, Bill. So.
All right, man. We are. Next week. I don't think we're doing a show next week.
Okay.
Because I'll be gone.
Okay.
Unless you want to do it, I don't know. It's up
Well,
to
we'll
you.
talk and we'll see what
Yeah.
happens. We'll see what happens. So. All right. Are we done?
I think we are.
Well, then let me hit some buttons here.
Oh yeah. Wait. You should do one on the Mini Can-Am Challenge and the CVAR event at Hallett in October.
Oh, is that in the chat?
Yeah.
Cool. I will look in the chat and get
Because
those
Hallett's
notes.
not far from you.
From me?
Yeah.
If I'm in a plane. Yeah. Hallett's really close, Bill. I love it. I love
It's
it.
closer to you than me.
Well, that's true. That's true. And I love Hallett. I love everything about
I
Hallett.
do too.
The first time last year was my first time there, and I'm like, oh, really? Do I want to go to Hallett? And then I went, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I never do this sooner?
And you went home doing the chicken dance.
The chicken dance. It's so much fun. All right, man. That's
All right.
That's going to do it for another episode of Inside Champ Car. Like what you hear, subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any episodes. You can also be great if you share it on your social media channels. Like, subscribe, all that other fun stuff. You can comment on the Champ Car Facebook page, especially if it's a good one. New episodes every week. He's Bill Strong. I'm Brian Bielanski. You're watching the Champ Car live on YouTube, and you are listening to the Racing Wire Podcast Network. Have a great week, everybody.